Alec Baldwin's involuntary manslaughter trial now underway in New Mexico, almost 3 years after the fatal on-set shooting of Rust cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. Prosecutors focused on Baldwin's reckless on-set behavior, while the defense blamed the film's armorer. Mary David is a legal analyst and former prosecutor, and she joins me now. Opening statements happened today. What was the big takeaway?
Opening statements were powerful from both sides. I really liked the special prosecutor, how she laid out all of the evidence that was going to be introduced to the jury. She really focused on how the manufacturer of the gun is one of the people that she would speak with and that they would question. The other thing that came up was really in the defense's opening, they talked about the 911 call, and they played that for the jurors, where you hear the person making the call saying this was the AD's fault. That is very powerful to hear that in the words of someone on scene.
And the AD is the assistant director who was already punished in this case.
They're talking about David Halls, who was convicted for his involvement in this, as well as the armor bearer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed. She was also convicted. And so it's going to be very difficult for the state to prove that the responsibility lay with Baldwin, that he was criminally negligent in relying on their word that the gun was safe.
I mean, it sounds like the prosecution has an easier case ahead of them, given everything you just laid out. And then the win for Baldwin, I believe it was yesterday, and his team, that he should not be considered, his role as a producer shouldn't matter. So it's just him as an actor. So what does the state specifically have to do to secure a conviction?
In order for Alec Baldwin to be convicted, the state has to prove that Baldwin created a foreseeable, unjustifiable harm that caused Halyna Hutchins' death, that his actions, pointing the gun and pulling the trigger, were unreasonable and unsafe, that they were dangerous. And given that he is being charged as an actor, the state has to show that it was still his responsibility, despite two other people who literally their job is to ensure that that gun is safe, that he was neglectful.
What's interesting, and I didn't know this until you pointed it out, and that is the fact that the gun has since been destroyed by the FBI. Explain the significance of that, and the fact that the jury dealing with this is in New Mexico, a much different jury in New Mexico, which I lived there for 3 years, versus here in Los Angeles.
The gun being destroyed, that is rare for that to happen. At the same time, this really came about because Alec Baldwin did an interview where he vehemently denied pulling the trigger. So there was an added test for the gun to check if it could accidentally go off. The process for that is really smashing it with a mallet from all different angles. And so the defense is arguing they didn't have a chance to evaluate that gun. And how can it be determined that it was not an accident?
But what did that test show? That it won't accidentally go off?
The test showed it won't accidentally go off, and that's why the special prosecutor's opening was so strong, because she said that the manufacturer of the gun and the person who transported that to set will verify that that gun would not accidentally go off.
Okay, well, it's going to be interesting. It's expected to last a couple of weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
It's supposed to last 8 days. Alec Baldwin, if he takes the stand, which may happen, I think it's very likely that he will really have to be careful not to get really heated on the stand. This is definitely a trial to watch.
Okay, all right, and he's facing up to 18 months as well. I'm sure we'll have you back, Mary David. Thank you so much, legal analyst. Let's